Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go racing here at Homestead Miami Speedway as well as Las Vegas in the Trucks and Xfinity Series. So this is where the schedule starts to get a little bit different here for everything now. As like I said in the last episode of the Daytona 500 where we didn't have the best race of the season or of our career, I said that the schedules would start to get kind of desynced a little bit, and that's going to be the story of the whole season pretty much. But we come through into the Truck Series race here at Las Vegas where we had subscriber Xander Crouch in the car for us here today. I actually had some audio issues when recording this episode where for some reason the audio got desynced by about a second to a second and a half or so with the video. So what I had to do was actually just go in, edit it, and then re-export the video to where it was synced up and then edit over the exported video that I have here on the screen. So the audio, or sorry, the quality might drop down just a little bit there in the video, but hopefully it'll be okay now as we go down into turn 3 here in the opening lap of this Truck Series race. This G Fuel car looks so good under the lights now as we come through out of turn 4. There's going to be quite a bit of night racing this season in the career mode, especially in the Cup Series. Most notably, Martinsville in the career mode now will be a night race, so I'm very excited for that one. Looking forward to that. We had the All-Star race there last season. We'll come through a little bit later in this race. Xander Crouch trying to move his way forwards, but unfortunately a little bit of contact there with the 21. And then after that moment right there, for some reason, he actually fell off quite a bit, and that was all he had. So we come straight through to the final lap here as he came through turns 3 and 4 on this final lap out of turns 4. So, I mean, it's going to be a solid effort here for Xander as he comes through, trying to hold off the two trucks behind him, and sure enough, he will do just that there as he comes through to cross the line for a top 5 finish here at Las Vegas as Chandler Smith picks up the victory over Drew Dollar. So Drew Dollar won his first Truck Series race last episode in Daytona and backs that up with a runner-up finish here at Las Vegas. So looking very strong in his rookie season so far after just 2 races here. So we come through now into the Xfinity Series race with Paul Menard behind the wheel for our Xfinity Series team. When we come to Las Vegas, we usually expect a decent result here, as Rajah Caruth was actually starting up at the front of the pack. As actually, there's one of the driver images I forgot to change. That was one of maybe like 2 at the most, so I will get that corrected as soon as I can. I actually legitimately thought I had every single one fixed, but that turns out to be incorrect now as we were underway here with Menard starting just outside of the top 10, unfortunately, here for us as he went down into turns 1 right behind that 98 of Tony Bradinger now. But the Xfinity Series definitely going to be, in my opinion, for some reason, it always seems to be the hardest series to win races in the career mode, from NASCAR Heat 3 to 4 to now Heat 5. It's just like we can go and win a bunch of races in trucks and even win quite a bit more races in Cup Series than we can in the Xfinity Series now as we come through the turns 4. So Paul was actually 3 wide in the middle here as he came through the tri-oval crossing the line, so it wasn't the greatest start for Paul, and he was having a bit of a rough day here in Las Vegas as he went down into turns 1 behind that 7 of Justin Allgaier. Now Allgaier definitely getting close to the end of his career here in the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode, so this could actually be his final season in the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode for that Junior Motorsports team in that 7 car. But we come through a little bit later in this race, and Paul was really struggling to get anywhere now as he went down into turns 3, still behind that 98 of Tony Bradinger. This now actually being on the final lap of the race as he came through out of turns 4 down the front straightaway for the final time, comes through to cross the line. A bit of a subpar finish to say the least here for us in the Xfinity Series as Paul Menard unfortunately doesn't even finish in the top 10 and actually has to settle there for the 13th position. So there you see Rajah Caruth actually picking up the victory there for Joe Gibbs Racing. So a strong effort for him, locking himself now into the Xfinity Series playoffs. Now as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen, Colby Howard down there, Carl Long, as well as Chad Fincham, Joe Nemechek, CJ McLaughlin, and then at the very bottom of the field we got JJ Yaley in the number 89 car. So we come through now into the Cup Series race, a brand new paint scheme on the car. The Dr. Pepper car is officially here for Homestead Miami Speedway. Look at this thing. Personally, I'll be honest with you guys, I think Pepsi is way better than Dr. Pepper, but this paint scheme is so beautiful, and I loved what Lation did with it. I said, you know what, we have to run this paint scheme instead of the Pepsi cars. So we made the switch, but we come through into our qualifying effort, and the goal was to hit a 32.299 second lap here, and I made a bit of a mistake through turns 1 and 2. Instead of running the top, you'll see me running the top probably the majority of the race, but I decided to run the bottom in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 32.4, and we come through across the line with the 32.474 and qualifying the 15th starting position here for the Dixie Vodka 400 for Homestead Miami Speedway. So not a terrible qualifying effort, but I think we definitely could have done a little bit better if I didn't make those mistakes in turns 1 and 2, especially when I clipped the apron. As you see the rest of the order though, Kyle Busch, Harrison Burton, your front row, Gregson, Denny Hamlin, and Sam Mayer round out your top 5. Rounding out the top 10, you got Joey Logano. You got the 2 McLaren drivers up there in the top 11, as we got Bubba Wallace down in P20, Timmy Hill 23rd, and then you got Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Preece, Christopher Bell, all having some rough qualifying efforts. Derek Kraus is actually in 33rd, so very rough. Daniel Suarez, our own car, in 36th, and Lewis Hamilton down in P37. Alright boys, I mean, we didn't have the finish we wanted in Daytona, but we had the speed, so we know what we got. So let's go have a good one today. There you hear myself on the radio to the team. I should mention, Ross Chastain is now back in the Cup Series after Dale Jr.'s attempt at the Daytona 500. So the 47 car for JTG in general is also back in the Cup Series. Now, I forgot to change the number. That will get changed, or the number template. As you will see, it will still say 25 on the track and in the finishing order. But for next episode, it should be back to 47 now, as I actually forgot to save a 47 template, and that is why it is absent from this one here. So get ready, though, to take the green flag from the 15th starting position here at Homestead Miami Speedway. The green flag is out, and we are underway for the second race of the season here of Season 5 in the Cup Series. You're going to notice a bit of a lighting change right there. Unfortunately, still something that's out of my control here as we go down into turns 1 behind our Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Kyle Larson. Hendrick Motorsports overall had quite the rough Daytona 500, so we're looking for a rebound as a whole organization here today. I think the best driver that we really had was not actually a Hendrick driver, but a Hendrick affiliate, and that was William Byron, who showed some true pace in that 88 car. Chase Elliott had a lot of speed as well. Won stage 2 in the Daytona 500, unfortunately had some issues, ended up towards the back of the pack before that race had come to an end. Right now, he's 3 wide in the middle right now in front of us with Logano and Blaney. I actually follow the 9 simply because the 7 of Blaney is clearly way off the pace. Now is actually forced 4 wide by Daniel Hemrick in the 12 car. Hemrick not afraid to get aggressive there. You do see a yellow spoiler and yellow rims on that car, and that is because I haven't actually learned how to change the color of the spoiler and rims when it comes to modding the paint scheme. So if I can find a way to change that, I will correct that. But you see me get a little bit close to the back of our rival of Joey Logano right there as we come through out of turns. We're still 3 wide, but a lot of Hendrick cars in this little vicinity right here as we're still 3 wide in the middle as we complete the first 2 laps. There you see Matt DiBenedetto in the 10 car. Right behind myself, we have the 41 of Brad Keselowski now as we actually now go back through the middle between DiBenedetto nearly to the outside of the 22 of Logano, but we do clear the 7 of Ryan Blaney. So up to P14, but definitely I don't think the start we were looking for now as Noah Gragson also appears to be falling through the order now as we're actually going to try and get to the outside of him on the exit of turns 4. So continuously moving our way through the field, and now we also have the opportunity to move up to the top line. So I was taking advantage of this right away. We come through now to the 8th lap, and things were starting to calm down a bit, but now we were to the outside of Logano. We pass him, and Sam Mayer, another driver that started towards the front, but falling off the pace. So we pass him as well, move up into P11. So you're going to just see me probably throughout the rest of this race try to make that outside work now as we come through, especially through turns 1 and 2. That's really where it helps. Turns 3 and 4 doesn't seem to work as much, so you might see myself actually move down to the bottom and kind of experiment. But Denny Hamlin was currently leading this race at the about halfway point of this first stage. Just last episode in the Daytona 500, we announced Denny Hamlin would be retiring from the career mode at the end of the season, as Ty Gibbs will actually drive the 11 FedEx Toyota Camry next season here in the career mode, as we're 3 wide with Austin Cindric and our Hendrick teammate of Chase Elliott with 9 to go in stage 1 as we send it off into turns 1. We will clear the 33. Currently Daniel Hemrick, the best running Penske car so far. Now lap 13, Keselowski had it run me down and actually looked up my inside here, and he was the very first DNF of the season last episode in Daytona. I actually clipped the wall in the exit of turns 2. A little bit awkward now. There's actually trouble behind us. Our own car, the GOWEN racing car, into the outside wall, and around it goes into the infield. Daniel Suarez has DNF'd for the 2nd race in a row, and the GOWEN racing Chevrolet Camaro will not finish any races so far yet this season because Daniel DNF'd in Daytona and now has DNF'd here in Homestead Miami. Obviously not what we want to see. The first two races of this brand new team that I own in partnership, of course, with the Chainsmokers, unfortunately goes out early again here. So this leaves us only a few laps left in stage 1 for the Dixie Vodka 400 here at Homestead Miami Speedway. 3 laps as we go down into the corner behind that 19 of Harrison Burton here. But definitely we don't have a car that's capable of winning in terms of just raw speed today here in Miami. So we're definitely going to have to work on that here as we go down this back straightaway right on that back of the 19 of Harrison Burton, who had a bit of a rough start to the season just like we did in the Daytona 500, as he definitely did not have the effort he was looking for now as we come through out of turns 4 heading down this front straightaway. So coming to 2 to go, we are trying to get into the top 10. Sure enough, we cleared the 33 and the 19 of Cindric and Burton. Move into the top 10. We come through to a lap and a half to go now to the outside of the 22 of Joey Logano, as Denny Hamlin continues to lead the way over second place of the McLaren of Eric Jones in that 02 car. That team has just made improvements in general coming into this season, and they made that push for Ryan Blaney, so this is a good opportunity for that team as we come through to start the final lap of stage 1. Blaney, though, clearly off the pace here today in Homestead Miami, but he's still trying to get used to that new team, of course, now as we come through turns 1 and out of turns 2 on this final lap in stage 1. Denny Hamlin leads the way down the back straightaway as we close into the back of the Red Bull and the Stewart Haas car of the rookie of Christian Eckes, and then Chase Briscoe as we go down into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Hamlin P1, Kyle Busch actually passes Jones for a second as we look to the inside of that 82 on the exit of turns 4 down the front straightaway. Not going to be enough for Eckes, but we come through to cut across as we come through to cross the line in P9, and you saw me just ever so slightly get into the back of the 14 of Chase Briscoe, and that is going to mean the car is not going to take off very well at the start of the second stage here in Miami, as Denny Hamlin, though, picks up the stage 1 victory as we get P9. So Hamlin with a playoff point, and now, I mean, if he wins today, locks himself into the playoffs very early on in the season, as you do see the rest of the finishing order in the top left of your screen. Blaney was down there in the mid-20s. Both of the 2311 cars really struggling. Bubba Wallace and Derek Kraus currently outside the top 30 as we gain 1 spot here, getting ready to start stage 2 from P8. But not really sure why the 2311 cars are struggling so much. I actually, of course, before the season started, by the way, as you see, we do not get going at all. Like I said, we were going to have this issue at the end of stage 1, but I went into the driver ratings at the end of the season and really bumped up some drivers, then kind of took some drivers down, and I expected especially Bubba Wallace to be up here in the top 5 to top 10 battling for a good result, but actually right now isn't even in the top 30. So we are here on this bottom, though, as we go down into turn 3. I jump up to the top and actually clip the outside wall there, so just a straight up driver error on my part. But now being up on that top, confident that we can get ourselves moving back forwards, but that poor restart puts us down in P16, and then actually the 10 just crowns us into the outside wall. I kind of forced the issue a little bit there to his outside, and he goes sliding into turns 1 and 2, saves the car. A great save from Matt DiBenedetto in that Old Spice paint scheme. I hope you guys do like that new modded scheme for him that was made by one of our community members of Vixen. Now as we go down this back stretch to the back of that 19 of Harrison Burton, looking to the outside of him as well into turns 3. Eric Jones in the McLaren, though, in that 02 car, now leading the way. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin side by side for second place. Kyle Larson down in that 4th position. Currently the best running Hendrick Motorsports car, as all of the other Hendrick cars are currently on the outside of the top 10, with Bowman being 11th, myself 13th, and Elliott now battling Harrison for that 14th position as we dive down into turns 3. So we would run down, though, our rival of Joey Logano. We had some good speed in this car at this point. I did make some adjustments to tighten up this car because it felt a little bit too loose in stage 1, but I actually get passed by Chase Elliott now, as I just did not get a good run through turns 3 and 4. So we come through now to lap 7, trying to now pass Logano's teammate of Austin Cindric as we come through the center of turns 1 and 2. Eric Jones continuing to lead the way as we're going to move up into that 13th spot, but now we're seeing a top 10 potential in stage 2 start to fade away because we're struggling to get past this 9 of Chase Elliott, as well as that 22 of Joey Logano as we come through the center of 3 and 4. I mean, we get a good run right there, but I was realizing we weren't getting nearly as good of a run on the exit of turns 4 as we were out of turns 2, so I was starting to consider moving down to the bottom here. But now up on the top, still 2 turns, 1 and 2, and make a big error right there and clip the outside wall, and we lose a bunch of ground that we had made up to Austin Cindric, who gets back past myself, and now we have to run them back down just because of a stupid mistake. I did not need to push the issue like that, and I just drove into the outside wall. So now, like I said, we have a lot of ground to make up, and that really destroyed our chances of getting into the top 10 now, because it took to lap 14 of 17 here in stage 2 just to get to the back of Austin Cindric. So I look to the inside of him, down the back, straight away into turns 3, and we will pass that 33 of Cindric as we go down into the corner. Now actually right behind us, Cindric actually blows a right front tire into the outside wall. He goes, caution comes out, stage 2 comes to an end, and we get P13. And now it hit me that if we would have done the typical trying to pass to the outside like we had been doing most of this race, we probably, or if we didn't clear the 33 of Cindric, he would have just blown a tire on our inside and drilled us in the side and put us in the wall. So we got a very lucky break right there, as Eric Jones did pick up the stage victory for that 0-2 car McLaren team. As you see the rest of the order, Lewis Hamilton down in P30, Blaney's having a rough race, and then you still got the 23-11 cars really struggling right now on the outside of the top 30. But we're going to come into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires and gain 1 spot to move up to P12 as Christian Eckes drops 7 positions on the pit lane as the 3rd and final stage is underway here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Logano not going to leave us much room, actually back out of it there, trying to make sure we don't run into each other here as we go down towards turns 1 with 28 laps to go. So once again, just like stage 2, not the restart we were looking for, but this time a completely different scenario where the 22's trying to crowd myself up into the wall. Of course, at the beginning of stage 2, it was simply because the car wouldn't take off. So now down to P16 once again as we battle for 15th as well as 14th into turns 3. But you got to point out the Red Bull racing car is really showing some strength early on in the season with the rookie of Christian Eckes, the most recent Xfinity Series champion, behind the wheel for that car. Of course, they had Casey Kane in that car all last season, but at the same time, this is only the very first legitimate race other than the Daytona 500 where we get an idea of where everybody is at. So still way too early, way too early to tell where these guys are really going to be at now in 10 races or so as we go down into turn 3. But Denny Hamlin leading the way now as he took the lead from Eric Jones as we once again just try to make this outside work to our advantage and get ourselves towards that top 10 position now as we come through, trying to put the pressure to the back of the 14 and Briscoe. I could have maybe made it 3 wide right there with Elliott and Briscoe by crossing over to the bottom, but I just didn't feel comfortable using that bottom in turns 1 and 2. But now I'm stuck behind that 14 of Briscoe. We have to kind of cross over here up the inside of him on the exit of the corner now as we go down this back straightaway. Now we're forced to make a pass on the inside. We actually split Elliott 3 wide with Chase Briscoe as we go down into turn 3, trying to get up the inside as well of Brad Keselowski. We mentioned earlier, Keselowski was the very first DNF of the season last episode in Daytona and finished, of course, dead last, so not the debut he was looking for with Stewart Haas Racing now as we clear Keselowski into turn 3 now on lap 43, but he's having a nice rebound run as actually we've got trouble on the outside. The 42 of Tyler Reddick blows an engine. Surprisingly, it doesn't really lead to any chaos, but Elliott and a couple other drivers get held up significantly, and they will lose a ton of crucial track position, and the caution does not come out. We stay under green flag conditions as I actually clip the outside wall, and that allows Keselowski to get back ahead of myself on the exit of turns 2. So a little bit of chaos there as Reddick was in a good position, and then of course with that engine failure takes him out of this race. Keselowski had also passed his former teammate of Joey Logano and moved up now into the 8th position. So now I'm trying to make a move to the inside of Joey Logano. Only 19 laps to go at this point in the race here as we dive down into the first turn, and Logano just running the top for some reason was leaving the door open for myself to be able to do exactly that right there. Clear the 22 of Logano on the exit of turn 2. He gets close to us right there, but not close enough, so we hold on now to 9th and try to run down the next group of cars. Keselowski was continuing to be on the move, now up to 7th place as our teammate of Alex Bowman and dropped to P8. Kyle Larson, now the best Hendrick car, up towards the top 5, and then we got myself here in 9th, and then Elliott was quite a ways back due to getting stuck behind the 42 of Tyler Reddick. But now green flag pit stops were kind of actually creeping up on us a little bit here, so I was getting ready to actually make my first green flag pit stop of the season. We come through down the back straightaway on lap 57 towards turn 3. Bowman still going at it with the number 41 of Keselowski, and I decide right here we're going to come into the pit lane with about 2 to 3 laps of fuel left in the car. So we come through out of turn 4. Now actually I see a bunch of smoke up ahead here as we go into the pit lane, and as I go into the pit lane, the caution actually comes out. We hit the pit wall, and all of a sudden my AI car decides it's going to stop. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know if we can do the pit stop, so I'm going through the cycle here to do the pit stuff and whatnot, and we actually sped into the pit lane, but we're not going to get penalized for it. But then my car decides to not even go into the pit box. It goes straight through the pit box, so I get even more confused. So I decide, I guess we're just going to throw 4 tires on it and put some fuel in it, and now all of a sudden we're down 12 positions in P21 for what could be the final restart of the day. The reason we lost those positions, though, is not because of how weird it was on the pit lane with the caution. It's because the AI drivers actually only took 2 tires. So all of a sudden, with 7 laps to go, we're down to P21. But it's not that bad because Miami tires are everything. So with 4 fresh tires, we are going to be hauling here as soon as we are able to kind of get spread out a little bit after about a lap and a half. So we're now to the back of that 88 of William Byron here as we go down this back straightaway. We're not waiting around. We make a 3-wide with him, as well as that 99 Trackhouse car of the rookie of Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer up against some stiff competition this season for Rookie of the Year. He's going to go against Christian Eckes, the former Xfinity Series champion from last season. He's going to go against Hailie Deegan, who came up just short of a championship for Stewart-Haas Racing. And then he's going to go up against 7-time Formula One world champion of Lewis Hamilton. But I doubt Hamilton will have a chance to win Rookie of the Year this season, simply due to the fact that he's not very experienced on oval racing, and it is definitely showing today. But we were on the move, making some 3-wide, 4-wide moves through the middle, and already up into P11, coming to the final 5 laps of this race. We would blow the doors off the 19 and now run down Keselowski, the 14 of Briscoe, the 22 and the 48 of Logano and Bowman as we come through into turns 3 and 4, and we are going to just blow the doors off of these guys right now as we come through out of the 4th turn. Obviously it didn't look great right there, but you're going to see down the straightaway to the back of the 22 of Logano, but only 4 laps to go. Do we have enough time to run down those top 5 drivers of Christian Eckes, Daniel Hemrick in the Penske 12 car, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, and the leader of Denny Hamlin as we exit turn 2. We clear the 22 of Logano, and that allows us to get set free and run down Christian Eckes here with a couple laps to go in this race. 3 laps to go out of turn 2, a bunch of smoke pouring out of the 82 Red Bull car. Christian Eckes' incredible run here in just his 2nd Cup Series race comes to an end as the caution comes out, forces overtime, and this puts us in prime position to go after our first win of the season. We have not had race winning speed all day long. We still don't have race winning speed, but we have the advantage of 4 fresh tires as we get ready to go green in NASCAR overtime from P5. My kind of idea right here was to wait till we get out of turn 2, then force it 3 wide on Kyle Larson down the back straightaway, and then just try to deal with Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch as we are back underway for overtime. Lap 68 of 69. Nice. Underway as we go down into turns 1. Joey Logano, though, is going to come across our nose into turns 1. He's going to force us onto the apron, and we go spinning through turns 1 and 2. Around we go into the outside while the caution comes out again, and double overtime is going to be happening here as we have 3 seconds worth of damage on the car, and Logano has just destroyed our chances of victory in Homestead Miami Speedway. I was all flustered right here. I didn't know what to do at this point. I just decided, I saw the damage. I said we're just going to come in, fix the car, throw 4 tires on it, and just go back out there. I was extremely aggravated from what just happened right there. Honestly, looking back at it, I don't think I should have actually come into the pit lane there. We probably still could have gained some positions on the restart even with that damage. But there's going to be no consequences for Joey Logano because we made it to the off season and there's no more probation for Joey or myself. But it's still very frustrating that we had a chance to win that race and the 22 just crowds me down onto the apron. And at that point, if I pull out, I mean, then I'm not going to probably win the race because the 22 is going to be in the way. So I decided to stay in it. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep the car on the track like I needed to, and I got pushed onto the apron, and around I went. And I guess I should have just backed out of it now as we're to the back of that Mercedes driver of Lewis Hamilton. But frustrating overall as Hamlin leads the way as I actually get into the back of Lewis Hamilton through turns 3 and 4 now as he's to the inside of that 4 car of Hailie Deegan, who's having a bit of a rough day here in Homestead Miami as we come to start the final lap in Miami to the the back of Timmy Hill, who's having a rough day, along with his teammate of Noah Gregson, and so was Ryan Blaney and many other big names who have made some big moves to different teams as we come through out of turn 2. Hamlin leads the way down the back straightaway into turn 3 for the final time over his teammate of Kyle Busch, but an overall solid race gone frustrating at the end due to Joey Logano ending our day there, or ending our chances at victory as we come through out of turns 4. Hamlin side by side with Kyle Busch, but it will be Denny Hamlin winning in Homestead Miami Speedway as we come through to cross the line for a very disappointing non-top 20 finish of P21. Now, as that marks the first 2 races of the season are both finishes outside of the top 20, and once again we were in position for a good finish just like we were in Daytona, and something goes wrong and now here we are not even in the top 20s. You see the top 10. Logano got P5. We owe him some revenge for sure sometime down the line, but we've been trying so hard to end this rivalry, and I've talked about it so much here in the past season of trying to end that rivalry with Joey Logano, and now with that contact we just made, we know that we basically have to start over and trying to end that rivalry now. As you see, Bubba Wallace, Derek Cross, the 22311 cars, 33rd and 34th. Very, very rough efforts for that 2311 racing team. Very unfortunate for them, but as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. In the next one, we go to Auto Club in the Xfinity Series. Still no Dirt Series coming to the career mode yet. I don't actually know when the first race is at this point. I thought it was going to be this episode, and it's not even next episode, so we'll have to wait and see. But as well, we go road course racing already at a green Sonoma for the Cup Series, so we definitely should be able to rebound there. I am going to change the tire and fuel wear, though, for the Sonoma race, because the last 2 seasons, we've won both of those races simply because of the AI coming to pit with like a lap to go, and I don't think that should be right for the career mode, so we're going to actually change it from 3x to 2x wear in the next episode. As you see the current playoff grid, we're at least still in the playoffs with 2 rough finishes right now. P13, definitely better honestly than I thought we would be, so at least happy about that as Alex Bowman currently the last driver in the playoffs. But like I said, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this one, and of course I want to say a quick thank you to the GOWEN Racing members here on the channel of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasura, King Matt XL, Dana 9302, as well as Russell Dixon. I appreciate you guys' support so much. It goes a long way for me, and like I said, I really do appreciate it. So I'll see you guys though in the next one at Sonoma Raceway. Have a great day, everybody.